Embers of the fallen. In the ashes of dawn where the sky had forgotten color decades ago, new cinder rose like a dying colossus. Its shattered towers clawed at the horizon, and beneath that lifeless canopy, Arya moved silently. Her footsteps were those of a ghost, soundless but unforgettable. Once a soldier, now a rebel, she was no longer hunted. She had become the hunt. The walls around her bore the scars of a world consumed by its own machinery. Scorched handprints, faded slogans, dead stares locked behind shattered glass. Far beyond the reach of the city's chaos, in the rusted remains of an old comms tower, Ren watched the horizon. Once a celebrated engineer, now a traitor. The wind carried ash and regret, fragments of memory from a time when his creations powered the engines of oppression. His hands, once revered for their brilliance, now dismantled the very systems they had built. Circuits hummed under his fingertips, not for control, but for resistance. Their alliance hadn't been destiny. It was defiance incarnate. Arya found him through whispers and encrypted channels, her eyes like smoldering coals, offering no gratitude, only purpose. Ren accepted not to repent, but because a part of him needed to believe in something that could survive the rot. Together, they carved cracks into the regime's steel skin, sabotaging power grids, disabling surveillance drones, hijacking data cores. Arya fought like a blade sharpened by loss. Ren followed like the wind behind fire, subtle, essential. The tension between them was palpable, forged by necessity, cooled into trust. Then, during a mission, beneath the ruins of an old transit hub, Ren found it. A half-buried holoscreen, flickering with a corrupted message, coordinates, and a word no longer spoken aloud, in New Cinder, sanctuary. He showed it to Arya with a flicker of something rare in his voice. Hope. She didn't speak, but for the first time, her silence was not a wall. It was a door. They left the city that night, slipping into the wastelands where ash choked the stars, and danger crept in every shadow. Bioengineered plagues twisted the earth. Drones scoured the skies. Enforcers patrolled like metal phantoms. Each step forward was stolen. Arya pressed on, driven by vengeance. Ren kept them alive, driven by something harder to name. Along the way, trust became routine. Routine became survival. Survival became something more. When they arrived, the truth shattered them. Sanctuary was a lie. The coordinates led to a place overrun. Slavers had taken root, twisting hope into control. Where a new beginning was promised, only suffering remained. Arya erupted in fury, ready to burn it all. Ren stopped her. Not out of fear, but out of strategy. They argued, voices raw and unpracticed at vulnerability. That night, beneath a rain that stung like acid, they prepared for war, together, but apart. The final battle was chaos incarnate. Arya stormed the fortress, cutting through guards like memory, through sleep. Ren vanished into the depths, setting charges along the power grid, rewiring salvation into destruction. When the tyrant emerged, a monstrous leader stitched together with wires and cruelty, Arya faced him. But pain found her first. A blade, cut too deep. She fell, her breath shallow, her hand slick with blood. Ren reached her too late, but not too late to choose. He knelt beside her, pressed something into her hand, his pendant, worn and warm, and rose. Into the fire. Into the heart of the machine. The detonator hummed in his grip. The explosion lit the sky for the first time in years. When Arya woke, the compound was rubble. Smoke coiled around her, but the city's grip had fractured. People emerged from the shadows, wounded, dazed, free. She rose slowly. Her heart ached like it had never beaten. But something new stirred in her chest. Purpose without rage. She carried Ren's memory like a weapon, silent and sharp. Years passed. New Cinder, once a monument to control, began to crumble. Surveillance towers fell. Drones failed to report. In alleyways and tunnels, rebels whispered her name. Arya had become a myth. But she was real. And relentless. The ash still fell, but where once it choked, now it revealed. A new future seated in fire and loss began to rise from the ruins. And the last breath of new cinder carried not fear, but a promise. Linya.